Okay, welcome to the City Council regular meeting on Wednesday, August 3rd, 2022. We have everyone present and accounted for. If you'll all join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Please take your seats. Okay, we have two presentations tonight. One from the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce. Mindy Paxton is the executive director, and she is stuck in traffic. So we will come back to her when she eventually gets here safely. But the next one on the list is Josh. So Josh, I'm going to ask Josh and Todd to come forward, please. In the world, what was it, 2-3 months ago, we kind of impromptu had Josh up here and said, hey, congratulations on Eagle Scout.
The Scoutmaster forgot to tell him that we weren't doing it that day.
And we gave feedback to the Scoutmaster, yes? Okay, interesting how that works. But what we didn't have time to put together our normal presentation and get pictures as well as put together our certificate. So Todd, can I turn it over to you since you are the Scoutmaster as well as a council member?
Chastised? Yeah, thank you. Josh, we didn't do this before. I talked a lot about you. This is Josh Harshberger. He's Troop 828. He's one of mine because I am the Scoutmaster now. Josh is an Eagle Scout. Strangely enough, he's also barely 18 years old and a sophomore at Texas A&M. He graduated high school a year early. That kind of describes Josh in a nutshell. He's a very, very smart young man. So Josh, we've got a certificate of recognition for your Eagle Scout. It reads, on behalf of the Garden Ridge community, we are pleased to congratulate and recognize you for your attainment of the rank of Eagle Scout. Dated August 3rd, 2022, signed by Mayor Rob Erickson.
Congratulations, buddy. Yeah, that's awesome gigging, right? Let's get some photos. Mom, you want to come up and let's get in front of the podium?
Yeah.
Okay. Mom, you want to come over here?
Come on the side of Todd.
You good? Okay. Okay, and we will get those to you.
Trying to hide behind you.
So, sophomore at A&M, you're leaving for school next week or 2 weeks from now?
2 weeks from now,
Okay.
20th.
And what are we majoring in?
I was accepted into the aerospace engineering program.
Of course you were. So congratulations. What do you want to fly jets someday, or what do you want to do?
Design them, if I can.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you for designing jets, and I look forward to watching you work, and way to go. So congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
Awesome. Big round of applause.
Thanks.
Pack 828, best part of my job, getting to do stuff like that. Thanks, Todd, for setting that up. Okay, we will come back to Mindy Paxton's presentation once she gets here safely. So we'll skip the rest of 3 right now and go on to item number 4, citizen comment period. Nobody has signed up, so we will skip number 4 and go straight to the consent agenda. I'm going to read this again so everybody out there knows what we're doing. These items may be acted upon in a single motion. No separate discussion or action on these items will be held unless requested by a council member. Public comment on these items may be heard during citizens' participation. However, that does not mean that the item will be considered outside the agenda, the consent agenda. So, council, does anybody have anything to pull from the consent agenda this month? Nope. Okay. If nobody has anything to pull, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda passes as written. On to item number 6, staff reports. 6A, City Administrator, Monthly Activity Report. Nancy, the floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor. Received a note from Cassandra Small. She's a Garden Ridge resident, and the note is entitled, "Kim is a Gem Extraordinaire." She rented the community center for her 70th birthday party, and Kim helped her in many ways. She said Kim was quick to respond, gave her the info she requested. Kim met every request and inquiry with professionalism and a can-do spirit. She also further states that her event was a great success in no small part because of Kim's esprit de corps, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, and her professionalism. She said she cannot say enough about what a gift it was to have Kim on her birthday team. She is a shining example of why Garden Ridge is a way of life, not just a place to live. Then we have an employee anniversary. And it's Michelle Hinojosa. She's 2 years. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, volunteer hours during July. The library had 174 hours. Parks Committee had a total of 381. 171 of those were from Parks Committee members and 210 were for non-members. So it was a very busy month with volunteerism in Garden Ridge. Okay. This Friday, August 5th, First Friday, Paul Davis Park, 5:30, 7:30. The theme is Hot August Nights. There'll be margaritas, food trucks, and Paul Duke, a Garden Ridge resident, will be playing live music at the event. As council may recall, back latter part of May, June, up until about the first week of July, there was a major outage with AT&T for landlines, service to residences. And Jesse and I met with our new representative shortly after the event was, or the situation was resolved. And we will be meeting with them again tomorrow to find out exactly what occurred. And next council meeting, I hopefully will have an update on y'all and be able to tell you what the situation actually was. Also, TML's annual event will be held in San Antonio. Council, if any of y'all desire to attend that event, that will be October 5th through 7th. Please let me know so we can get you registered at the reduced participation rate. Also, we have next Thursday, August the 11th, we have our special city council meeting at 6 o'clock for our budget public hearing, budget adoption, also tax rate proposal. And then August 29th at 6 o'clock, we will have another special meeting, which will be for tax rate adoption and tax rate public hearing. And that's all I had, Mayor.
Thank you, Nancy. Council, anything else for Nancy? If we are going to TML, we need to know, because we have some scheduling things we need to deconflict, i.e. a council meeting and some other stuff. So I fully support all of us going. I think that'd be great. We've never done that, and it's in the city of San Antonio. So we've got the money to do that with, and please get information to Nancy and Marissa so we can make some concrete plans. All right, thanks, Nancy. On to item number 6B, Finance and HR Monthly Activity Report. Christine, ma'am?
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
For those of you that don't know, the city's assistant librarian will be leaving. Her last day will be August the 12th. We have been conducting interviews and have selected a candidate for the position, and an offer will be extended to them before the end of this week. The city currently has career opportunities available. We are accepting applications for an assistant city secretary. So if you know someone that's tech savvy and they're willing to come in and help us out, then just let them know if you could. Also, with the police department, there are some positions that are also available. We're accepting applications for those. Within the finance department, we are preparing for the fiscal year-end audit, which is being scheduled for the second week in November. And that's pretty much all I got.
Go right from budget into audit season. That's always a pleasure, right?
So much fun.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Christine. Council, any questions for or follow-ups with Christine? Thank you very much. On to 6C, City Secretary Monthly Activity Report. Marissa.
I just wanted to highlight a couple of things on my report. The first one being that the City Hall offices are closing early on Wednesday, August 17th. We'll be closing at 2 p.m. for staff training. And then also we still have 50th anniversary swag for anybody that was unable to get it at the event. Just to remind everyone they can stop by City Hall during office hours and get those items, whatever they want. I think we still have plenty of everything.
Yes, we do.
And then the last thing I just wanted to highlight is that there are still plenty of spots available for the Garden Ridge Blood Drive. So if anyone wants to sign up to donate blood, that's on Saturday, August 13th from 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Community and Event Center. The link to sign up is on our website in the Grapevine, so I would encourage people to sign up and fill those slots. That's all I have.
Thanks, Marissa. Council, anything else from Marissa? Great job. Chief, 6D, Police Department, the floor is yours, sir.
Sir, most everything that I want to discuss is already on the report. I wanted to highlight a couple of things. We also had a lot of volunteer hours through the CPA for the month of July. I put on there 90. That there was no way I could count the hours that other members spent preparing behind the scenes and running errands and getting food and supplies for the 4th and so forth, but just assisting us with traffic for the parade and for the 50th celebration event. We had 90 hours from our CPA members as well. They do a great job for us, and I don't think we give them enough recognition. Also, Marissa briefly mentioned it, Wednesday the 17th, City Hall will be closed. That's our tabletop exercise for our active shooter. So I'd like to see the council there. It will be held here in the council room and the lobby both. We'll have members of Comal County, the SO, Emergency Management, Church EMS, hopefully some ISD folks as well. And then our staff will be here to run this exercise. It should be quite an interesting afternoon. So I'd like to see you all there. And that's all I have, unless you have something for me, sir.
No, Chief, thank you very much. Council, anything to add or ask of our chief? The exercise that we're having on Wednesday, the 17th, 2 weeks from today at 2 o'clock, I'd very much like to see if you're in town, everybody here, please. So, and that's a critical exercise for many different obvious reasons, and it's the ones that are less obvious that I want to find out. I want to know what we don't know. So, thank you very much. And I noticed, Chief, you put in there that you and Lieutenant Dan attended Hog Wild with everybody last Friday, and I'd like to say that it was the first time in almost 11 years living in Garden Ridge that I saw Lieutenant Dan in civilian clothes. So, not in uniform, which was crazy. So I don't ever remember seeing that. Chief and I have been to football games and all kinds of stuff, so I've seen Chief, but interesting. It's great. Good to see Dan there. Okay. I thought Lieutenant Dan just had the uniform on 24/7. So I thought he did. I thought he was born in it.
He does. He has a onesie. No, I shouldn't say
all right.
that.
I digress. And I saw Mindy walk in, so we'll finish off item number 6, and then we'll go back to item number 3. So 6E, Public Works Department. Stephen, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. For July, we recorded 0 inches of rain up at the Public Works Yard. We replaced the fan motor for the chiller plant behind City Hall. A reminder, trash dumpsters will be back in September. Future projects and needs, we are currently looking for contractors for quotes for a covered equipment storage up there at our shop to keep our equipment from the elements. Currently, we have 3 dogs and 5 puppies. The 3 dogs got vetted today, so they should be available for adoption next week. The puppies still have another week before we take them for their vetting and get their shots, and they'll be ready for adoption then. We also trapped 3 wild hogs in trophy oaks. So it's dry out. Hogs are starting to look for water, so we're expecting to see some more activity. So we're baiting our traps and catching them before they actually get to any residents. And we do have individual hog traps for rental also that will catch maybe one full-size hog and some piglets, but any more than that, it wouldn't really work very well. That's all I have to report for the public works side.
Thank you, Stephen, with the Public Works, and great job being proactive with the feral hogs. Council, anything for Stephen regarding Public Works? Okay.
Yes, I mentioned, I've discussed briefly with Stephen. He provided me the quote that he was given before and the contact information, and he and I had a brief discussion about maybe alternatives. So that's a process, an ongoing process for that cover at Public Works.
Outstanding. Thanks, Kay. Anybody else? All right, Stephen, water.
As y'all know, we started stage 1 water restrictions in July. The water department has pumped in July about 9 acre-feet. We're doing very little acre-feet out of the Edwards to top off the tank, so just as a supplemental for the Trinity. Edwards stage 3, we lose about 0.62 acre-feet a day. In July, we lost about 19 acre-feet. Year to date, we have lost 77 acre-feet from the Edwards. Hopefully we get rain soon so we don't have to start to see these numbers anymore. As of July, we have 483 acre-feet available from the Edwards. Edwards remains in stage 3 for the remainder. If Edwards remains in stage 3 for the remainder of the year, we have a spreadsheet tracking daily of what it could look like or how much acre-feet would have left. So as we stay at stage 3, we were looking at 255 acre-feet left by the end of the year. Total water pumped out of the Trinity was total water pumped from the Trinity Edwards combined was 42.5 million, which is only down 4 million from June, about less than 10%. Average daily pumped water on our spreadsheet is 1.4 million. The maximum daily pumped water is 2 million. Minimum daily pumped water was 0.9 million, which is on Sundays, the lowest day we have. Unaccountable unsold water was 3% water loss. Automatic drafts are up 2. AMSI customer portals is up 29. If you also see on my report, I added an extra chart. Real quick. Yeah, if I brought that chart. Give me 1 minute. That chart. Well, it shows the AMI information, the totals where it goes up and down, and it also has a stage restriction number on there that whenever it detects that there's someone's using water on a day that they're not supposed to, it's supposed to send them out a notice. In some instances, it'll send 2 notices to the same person, so that way the numbers are a little bit higher than we expected. So duplicated itself in some instances, but still high numbers. That's all I have right now.
Thanks, Stephen. Council, anything for Stephen regarding water? Jesse?
First of all, I didn't realize AMI system provided that capability with restriction alerts. Nice feature to have, especially we're on here, so we can, the water department can follow up on that. I'm kind of a little disappointed in that the reduction of water was only less than 10% in June with being in restrictions. And Sundays being a non-watering day, to me, it should be a lot less than 900,000. It should be like a winter, $500,000, $600,000, 600,000 gallon day. So a little disappointed in that. Hoping stage 2 will help when we get in here later this week. So that's all I have. Thank you, Stephen, for that, for doing the tracking you've been doing. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jesse. Okay, Todd, anything else? So, Stephen, great job. Thanks for tracking these things and adding some numbers and some trend data to your monthly report. I love the fact that AMI portal profiles are up. Thanks for putting in the stage 1 water restrictions. Even if it's double, that's still 1,300-ish that went out. So that makes sense to me based on what we see on a daily basis. So one of the things when we, before we hit stage 1 restrictions, so in late June, we started an email train between Stephen, myself, Nancy, Jesse, and Jim Mueller, the chairman of the Water Commission, to track those daily numbers. And no kidding, we haven't seen any kind of significant trend in stage 1. So, and our stage 1 restriction alerts indicate that kind of proves it. So we hit stage 2 on Friday, so first Friday, and there are a few more restrictions that go into that. We sent those stage 2 restrictions out in our monthly water bills, so thanks Michelle and Marissa for doing that. So hopefully people are looking at that and watching it, and we'll see if we see a trend in August. San Antonio is, so the Edwards Aquifer and SAWS, they're in stage 3. And if we need to go to stage 3, that's where we start seeing anything above a certain amount of gallon usage per household a month is 100% surcharge. So, and that is so that as we have Edwards Aquifer acre feet taken away from us, that we would have enough money left over towards the end of the year if we needed to purchase additional acre feet through the Edwards Aquifer, and that would be at a surcharge as well. So it would cost us a lot of money to buy extra, and we need to make sure that we still are able to supply water for our citizens and our customers. So we track that daily in those emails. So thanks for doing that, Stephen. I know that's a lot of work, but it's a no-fail operation, right? So you're doing great things. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody, anything else? Questions for me on that? Great, awesome. Okay, Miss Linda, 6F. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you. Oops. Well, we've had a really busy July. After a busy 4th of July, we buried the time capsule on the 8th, that Friday. And there's a picture of the mayor shoveling dirt. Oh, can we go down and find? He's shoveling dirt, or dishing the dirt, is that it? It was a special time, I think, of remembering our past and our present, while at the same time thinking of future residents. And so I hope whenever they dig this up that they will enjoy looking at it and comparing lives. I thought it made a really nice culmination to the 50th anniversary activities. After this event, one thing was brought to our attention. It's called the International Time Capsule Society. I do have a little, It's a group dedicated to tracking the world's time capsules so that all those that have been created will not be lost. And so we discussed it a little bit, and I went ahead and registered our time capsule, and it appears on their website. I can give you the link to that page. You can go and look for it, or I can just give you that link in next month's report, or I'll send it to you if you would like to see it before. It has the latitude, longitude things. So I think that's a really good service that they do. As you know, or maybe you don't, remember, July 21st was our stuffed animal sleepover, where the children dropped off their bravest stuffed animal. And so here's a photo of some of the things they did during the night. It's fun for everybody. The next night, the children came for a pajama story time. And after the story, we made sleep masks for their little furry friends. And then the kids were ready to go home, already in their pajamas. But we gave each one a personalized book. On the back of their book was a picture of their particular stuffed animal, and it said, I had such a good time at the library, but my favorite place is at home with you, Lisa, or name, and then it says love, and then the animal's name. So I think that made it special for them. And our last big children's event for the summer is I've got those a little out of order, is next week, August 12th at 6 o'clock, right here in this room, an interactive movie night. We're going to show the older Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie. And so what makes it interactive is during the movie, we stop the action and have them, they come in and they get a bag of prompts. And then they have to do what we say, like, put on your 3D glasses, and they'll have to find them and put them on, or pop bubble wrap. That's my favorite. So I think it'll be fun for adults and children as well. And that will be the end of our summer our summer activities for children. We'll be giving away all the prizes that we've had. Children get to read and put their name in for about 15 baskets, and then several grand prizes. So that will end that until school starts, and we get our new assistant oriented and ready to start some after-school activities. So, do you have any questions?
Thank you so much, Ms. Linda. Council, any questions for Linda?
Yes, Linda, how are you on popcorn? Because I supply that every year.
We're always welcome. We're always ready for more popcorn. We are going to borrow the Lions Club's big machine.
Oh, okay.
And so
I'll get some.
Oh, you're so
Before the
kind.
event.
That is so kind.
Thank you.
There will be free popcorn and water. Nothing sticky on the floor, we hope.
That's wonderful. Well, interactive movie night with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the older one. I know somebody that could come in and interact as a Veruca Salt. And I think she played, Lisa's daughter Sophie played Veruca Salt back in
That would
3
be,
years ago now at Danville Middle School.
In middle school, yeah.
The kids would love that, wouldn't they?
They would love
I'm not volunteering Soph.
Only
Maybe
if
I am.
Judge shows up.
Can she
So-
still
We'll
get
judge
into
them
her
in the
costume?
audience. What's that?
Can she still get into her costume? She should come and do it. That would be wonderful.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I may send Sophie with some friends. They'd have a good time.
Tell Soph the mayor is directing.
It's decreed.
Decreed. It's a proclamation. Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
Great job. All right, that concludes item number 6. And as I mentioned before, Mindy Paxton is here safely. So we'll go back and reopen item number 3. And Mindy, if you want to come up, do you want me up there right now, or?
Whenever you're ready, it's all
I will come forward if you want to turn that mic on.
First of all, I want to apologize for my tardiness. In my defense, that was my annual trip to San Antonio as a reminder that I don't go and why. But also, I've been to lots of city partners council meetings, and they rarely start on time and get going so quickly. So great job, guys. And I wanted to say officially, I know I've seen most of you. Funny enough, the two that have been members of Tri-County the longest I haven't seen. But I've been able to see the rest of you out at our events, at our mixers and our luncheons, and I appreciate that support. It was good to see y'all, but I wanted to officially say thank you for becoming a partner with Texas Tri-County Chamber and say welcome. It's been a partnership that started off wonderfully. We already have our first event. It's scheduled here at Paul Davis Park, sponsored by Leapfrog Promotions. Some of y'all might know who he is, and Alamo Brewing Company, and that is September 22nd. We'll start at 5:30. I've also been talking to a couple businesses that I think are pretty excited about looking at opportunities here, and I think you all would be excited if and when that happens. So with that being said, Mayor Erickson, here is your wonderful, beautiful plaque. I'm sure you're a proud member since 2022. Hopefully it'll be a long partnership. There's some other, there's stickers and goodies for whatever you want in here, and then there's some coins I'm gonna give you the official way.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll take a picture. All right.
I think there's enough. And the official coin.
Okay.
Welcome.
Nice, thanks. It's good to be here.
Thank you.
Awesome. This is great. Thanks for getting here safely. We look forward to this partnership, and we look forward to our event that we're having with you in a little over a month.
Yes,
so
sir.
It's going to be great.
Yes, it will.
We got to get Mako Peterson, right?
Yes, you do, for sure. All right, here you go.
Okay,
This is more
thanks.
stuff for y'all.
More.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you
Thank
so
y'all so much.
Be safe. Okay. We're off and running, council. That's all your work. Thanks for everything you do. On to item number 7, city engineer project status and reports. Sam, good to see you as always. Floor's yours, sir.
Good evening. I'll be real brief tonight. The only update I have, or to add to my report, is that TxDOT, we got their comments, we submitted revised plans to them. So if there's any more comments, we're ready to go into the TxDOT permit, and then after that, bidding. So we're getting pretty close to getting this project going and constructed. So
That's good before the price continues to rise, right?
yes, well, lately we've been kind of seeing the prices steady out, but they still went up so much they're impacting a lot of different projects.
You bet. Council, anything for Sam on that?
Thank you for that.
That's great. Good work. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, that was quick. That's quick and easy.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
All right. That'll conclude item number 7. And on to item number 8, city commission and committee reports, recommendations, and possible actions. 8A, planning and zoning. P&Z did not meet in July, so there's no update at this time. 8B, Quarry Commission, they did not meet in July, or since the July city council meeting, so therefore there's no update at this time. They met prior to our council meeting, which was on the 13th. And now on to 8C, Water Commission. So Chairman Mueller, welcome, sir. It's good to see you, as always. Floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Good evening, Mayor and council members. We have one recommendation for you tonight that's related to the water leak adjustment procedures. These are recommended changes to Ordinance 54, paragraph 16.07C. That's on page 27 of the ordinance. And our recommendation is on page 42 of your packet. As you remember, we were here last month, and we talked about some of these changes that were recommended, and we've got some additions from City Council to consider. So we went back at our July meeting, and we went through those recommendations. And I'm not sure if you could tell from what you were looking at or if you compared it to last month, but there were a couple of recommendations that were added back in there based on y'all. You'll see item 4 and 5 were added back, we added 4 and 5 from the council recommendations, which actually, I don't want to go through what was matched there, but that was excessive use for the lawn irrigation systems related to some stuff, and then water loss associated with construction of residences. So those were the 2 that we added from your recommendations, and y'all had about 6 that were in there. So I'll go in a little bit and explain sort of our rationale that was there. I'm not sure how many of y'all got a chance to see the Water Commission meeting, but I'll do my best to sum up what the different commission members had said out there. So first of all, I want to reinforce to everybody for these leak adjustments, we do still charge the folks for the average cost of the water that is out there. I say average cost because very specific, because our actual costs of water by the gallon is going to change based on the amount that's going through. So we've done the math calculations and we figured out the average cost, which is roughly equivalent to stage 2. So the leak adjustment just bumps down any, it bumps the rate of water that they use down to rate the second tier rates. So the city average cost of water is covered. Now, with that being said, we realized that our approach here is we wanted to minimize restrictions, but we still want to promote customer responsibility as we went through this. And we sort of looked at all these different items out there. Some of our big concerns are our rate structure. Our rate structure is a graduated rate structure. It increases with the rate increases with the more water that you use. So you could look at it as a large leak will end up, could make a significant impact, especially to some of our, a good portion of our folks, which end up in the lower tiered rates. So we wanted to try to provide, we want to provide relief to something like that. Along with that, we have obviously the lot size around here, and we know that irrigation drives a lot of the water use that is in the city. So we're kind of sensitive to that and trying not to overly restrict that, because we're trying to be fair in our restrictions for that, I should say. Now, with all of this being said, I do want to bring up, and I think Councilmember Valdez brought this up last time also, with our new AMI system, we've already had a significant reduction in the leak adjustments that we've been bringing forward. That's part of that is due to the very proactive approach our water department is taking. I think Stephen's doing a great job of being very active when they get these alerts, because even if the customer doesn't see the alert or they're not set up to get the texts or they're not on the portal, we still get those at the water department, and they go out there and are very good about notifying the customer by all means possible to make sure that we mitigate any effects of a leak that are out there. So with that, with their proactive approach and the AMI system that you approved and had us install not too long ago, we really think that in the long run we're on a very good path for water conservation and protecting our water resources. All right, I think that is everything out of my notes that I wanted to go through. So I'm going to pause, take a breath, and see what questions there are.
Council, any questions so far for Chairman Mueller? Jesse, do you want to speak now, or are you ready for council comments?
Absolutely, sir.
All right, Jesse.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman Mueller, for taking suggestions back to the Water Commission. You know, at council, I admit I put everything possible on that list that was found in other areas. I did take it to the stream, but I wanted to see I wanted y'all to see what others were doing. Before I review my comments to their comeback changes, I did some other research. And one thing is, like Chair Mueller said, you know, the installation of MI meters have really made a big reduction in the size of the water loss. Between July 2021 and July 2022, the credits range from $9.80 to $250. 5 of those leaks were between $160 and $250. 10 of the leaks requests range from $9.80 to $42. Very low amount. The total for that 1-year period was only $1,300. Now that compares to the period of May 2019 when we started back the leak adjustments. May 2019 to May 2020, when $22,000 in credits were given. Big difference. So we've done a significant amount with that. The point I want to make is going back to those leaks, those 10 leaks that were less than $42. It takes a significant amount of time. It takes Michelle roughly an hour to collect all the data for everything needed for Stephen to process it. It takes Stevens anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. So the amount of time required for the city to be investing in this to try to look at it, and you have only credits less than $42, that's something we need to think about. All those leaks that were less than $42, the bills were in the $30,000 to $40,000 range, the actual bill. So the amount of water, is very minimal that you can get back credit. So just keep that in mind. So now going to the recommendations. So for item 4, Bert, so that 4 there, the commission did keep the first 2, the programming errors and the controller malfunctions. They excluded the water line, sprinkler head breakage leaks. And those, I did also more research on those. A sprinkler head break is anywhere from 10 to 20 gallons a minute. So in a 15-minute time range, we're talking about 300 gallons at the most. If you air water twice a day, that's 600 gallons a day, a week, because we're only watering once a week now. So less than 10,000 gallons a month, basically, So just keep that in mind, okay? So I'm good with that. On the next one, the 5th one, Roman numeral 5, I guess that's the proper way of doing it, huh? Water losses or excessive water losses related to water softeners, swimming pools, and landscaping. One thing the Water Commission stated was that there were not leaks. There were program leaks, so it didn't qualify. The issue I have is that this section has been renamed from water leak adjustment to water loss adjustment. So that statement that there's not a leak does not apply here anymore. So I still think that's a valid thing that we need to consider. I'll go ahead and I'll accept not including the backflow devices and pressure reducing, because there's another way to handle that one. And they did accept with a low rewarding the last one. So I'm good with that. Okay, so anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. I think we ought to consider, if we don't consider something else here, we ought to consider maybe putting a minimum build amount, because it's going to be hard to say, because you could have, 100,000 gallon leak, and it'll be a small one, but it'd be hard to follow those up with something to control it with the credit part. But if the leak is under, 40,000, when they have a leak and the bill is less than 40,000 gallons, I think we ought to reconsider whether we should even process that because of the amount of time our city staff has to spend on those. I think that their time is precious, and so really want y'all to consider something like that. So that's all I have, and I'd be willing to hear everybody's thoughts on.
Thank you, Jesse. Council, any questions or comments for Jesse's comments at the moment? So I have a couple of things to add to what you had to say, Jesse, and thank you for all your research and all of your work with the Water Commission and with Michelle putting everything together. So what I don't want us to do is send anything back to the Water Commission from tonight. So the Water Commission has deliberated this twice, and they have done some great work, and here are their final inputs that are coming to us. Anything we want to add or subtract, we can vote on that tonight, and staff will make that happen. So nothing goes back to the Water Commission with this. I hope you guys are okay with that. Just we need to act on it. So talking about the amount of work necessary, are you looking at a dollar amount for the leak adjustment, or are you looking at a gallon amount? Because when Nancy and I discussed this earlier, we were thinking maybe a dollar amount, that if the leak adjustment is less than $50, it's actually, it costs the city more money to process that and deliberate it than it actually comes out back to the customer. So what are your thoughts on that?
My thought on that is, if you're going to use the $50, say, leak adjustment or minimum, you still have to go through all the process. You still have to go through the work that the clerk has to do and Stephen has to do. So I was thinking more of if the water bill itself, the bill is less than, say, 40,000 gallons, the most, let's see here, I have it here. For 40,000 gallons, well, the credit there is $59 is the maximum you can get. 38,000 gallons is 51,000. So if you, that way, if you look at the bill, and it's a decision is made right there without having to do the work. If you use $50 as a maximum credit, you still have to do the work. So it defeats the purpose. Okay.
So what is it you're proposing with that then?
Well,
I mean, let's be
round
specific.
numbers, I would say 40,000 gallons billed. You know, or we can pick anything else in between, but just if your water bill is 40,000 or less, 40,000 gallons or less, then you're not eligible to apply for a leak. Because the maximum credit is less than $50 almost. You know, it's around, well, $60, so 40,000 is.
It actually hurts the city. I mean,
It actually, yeah.
With the extra time and
There's
effort.
extra time
and
involved in that, you know.
man
So,
hours.
yeah, like I said, if you use $50 as a credit, you know, yeah, you could still have a $100,000 gallon bill and only have a few thousand gallons in leaks. You know, so the effort still has to be put in. So I like to eliminate the work that the city staff has to do.
Okay. Council, do you have any questions or comments about what Jesse just said that let's be specific again. So state it one more time, if you would.
Okay.
You're okay.
So if the water bill, if the amount of water billed is 40,000 gallons or less, and I'm using 40,000 gallons just to make round numbers instead of 38 or 35, just round numbers. Mr. Miller, you want to say something?
Well, I was just going to say if you look at the recommended changes there, under item 6, water loss adjustments will only be considered qualified if, then you could add an item 4 there that says the water bill during the leak period is over 40K for the month, or however you were saying it. That's a place you could insert it. My only concern would be in some of the lower usage customers that we have. You know, we say $20 doesn't seem a whole lot, and it's a cost to the city. It's also a cost to that customer. I don't know, if that's a consideration for y'all.
Thank you, Chairman Mueller. That's great input. Would that suffice, Jesse?
Yeah.
Okay. Michelle, did you get that? Okay. And what else? The other thing that we talked about, Nancy and I talked about, was the time frame that our customers have to get back to us. So after we get their request for a leak adjustment, we sometimes wait months to get the information we're requesting back, which is staff time, and it delays things for us. So do you have any thoughts on putting a time limit on that? Nancy, do you want to jump in here?
I had thought 30 to 45 days. If the water department requests additional information, then that party would have 30 to 45 days to get that information back to us. As it stands now, we have some that have taken 90 days and longer that trying to have to follow back on, and residents being non-responsive, and that just delays the ability to complete that particular request. So I was thinking 30, 45 days.
And that's after the city comes back and requests additional information?
Once we request additional information, yes.
Okay. Jesse, what do you think about that?
Sounds good.
Mr. Mayor,
That's after the.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, go ahead.
If you look at paragraph C, number 3, I think it's the second sentence there. It talks about the water loss adjustment request lacks sufficient information. The customer will be notified and allowed to submit additional information within a reasonable time period, but not longer than 90 days. So we did try to capture that in there. If 90 days is excessive, that would be an easy place that's where we thought that would be included.
Divide it in half, call it 45?
Well, the commission thought 90, but you're the council, so.
I like 45, 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
Council, any comments with that? Any druthers? Okay, so Jesse, are those the only, what we've just talked about? So adding item number 4 under
Okay.
paragraph 6?
I have
And then
one more
changing to
comment.
45, go.
Yeah, I missed on that. Go down to, on there, the number 6 or number 7. Yeah, right there. So the 7, number 2 is water loss as a result of customer violation of ordinance 54, ordinance 61, or plumbing code adopted by the city. Now, 2 of those violations is, according to the ordinance 54, we require a pressure reducing valve and pressure being below 80 PSI. The only thought is that we put examples, for example, this is a violation. That way, and not just, there's the ordinance is that. I just thought it might be, maybe for clarification, we put an example. What do you think of that? I don't know that. It may not be necessary, but, I thought it was just clarification.
I think we might have mentioned, I think we had a discussion on that, and we were concerned that if the example wasn't specifically called out, somebody would,
Okay.
that would cause problems.
I'm good with leaving it out.
We did
but I
have
just
that
thought,
discussion,
We
yeah.
shouldn't be sure that, I know one thing Stephen looks for is now they're going out to check to see if it's a pressure reducing valve in the line and check the pressure. So we're doing that anyway, but,
So Jesse, you're good with our 2 additional inputs?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Council, anything else to add on that? Any comments? Kay?
This is a wonderful summary. I'm just wondering if possibly the next grapevine, if that's appropriate place, just maybe 4 or 5 bullet points to simplify it. The key things like, in other words, specifying the 40, minimum 40, so that they don't expect a rebate, or reimbursement for a leak, and explain why. Just however many significant bullet points in a short article.
Excellent idea.
I like that very
I
much.
think we could do that, but after y'all adopt ordinance 54 with these changes in it, so it won't be next month.
Okay, I just meant an upcoming grapevine.
Yeah, we could do that.
Great.
Perfect. Okay, so with those 2 changes, let's see if we can get a motion to approve the, Marissa, what do we need to say here?
Approve the leak adjustment process, and you can direct city staff to incorporate the changes into ordinance 54.
Someone repeat that with the motion.
So said.
Jesse, this is yours.
You want to spell out the actual changes, or you just pay as we discussed? Okay, you got it down. Okay, so make a motion to accept the changes to ordinance 54 for the water leak adjustment, including the changes that have been discussed, have been documented by staff.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. The leak adjustment process is adopted with council's 2 recommended changes that staff will incorporate. Good job, council. Good job, Water Commission and Chairman Mueller. And sir, now you have a monthly update.
Yes, sir, thank you. I think you covered most of the things we talked about them in the monthly update already with the discussion with the water department. There's a lot of discussion on drought restrictions, what our supply looks like. So I won't go ahead and rehash all of that. I think my only other note was about commercial water rates. We are still researching on that. I know I mentioned that last month. We're still working on it and hope to have something to you soon. Other than that, our next meeting is on Tuesday, August 16th at 6 p.m. right here. And that's it from us. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you as always. Any other questions for Chairman Mueller? All right, thanks. Item number 8D, Wildlife Management Advisory Commission. They did not meet in July, so there's no update at this time. Leads us to 8E, Parks Committee. Mr. Chamberlain? It's good to see you. Did you get some rest? Good. Floor is yours, sir.
Once again, thanks for the opportunity to give you a monthly update. Our last general meeting was held on July 13th, and our next general meeting will be this coming Wednesday on August the 10th, and it'll be at the Blue Bonnet Room at 9:30 in the morning. As far as accomplishments over the last 30 days, we finished the cleanup and the storing of items used for the 4th of July celebration. The committee also held a post-4th of July review session and determined if there's things that we can change or modify to make it better for next year. If there's any feedback that the council would like to give us, please reach out to one of the tri-chairs, and we'll be happy to have a conversation with you. We also did a wrap-up of any last-minute items for this year's fiscal budget, hoping to have everything submitted in before August the 31st. And work with Scout Noah Bliss on an Eagle Scout project that's upcoming from that side. So that's what we worked on the last 30 days. What's planned for the next 60 days is a brainstorming session at this next monthly committee meeting regarding an information kiosk station at Paul Davis Park. So we're going to actually think about what we would like to see included there, posted. Once again, if the council has any suggestions, reach out to one of the tri-chairs, and so we can get that put in at the brainstorming session. Pending approval on the Scouts application for his Eagle Scout project, which is to put 2 bicycle racks at Paul Davis Park. Once that's approved, we're working with Public Works to go ahead and make sure that we don't go ahead and hit a water line. I don't want to have a water line break, right? No? Okay. A little humor, okay. And get those installed hopefully by the end of August. Installation of a new water fountain near the baseball field. We're hoping for that. And identifying any future projects or objectives for the next fiscal year. As always, we always look for input or any volunteers. If they'd like to reach out to us, reach us at gardenridgeparks@gmail.com. On that note, Mayor, it's back to you and the council.
Thanks so much, Rod. Appreciate everything you guys do. Council, anything for Mr. Chamberlain?
No, I like the idea of bicycle racks for Eagle Scout project. Good idea.
That's what Noah's working on?
That's what he's working on, yeah.
Okay, more to follow.
Yeah, we already had 2
That's
meetings
great.
on it. He said he was going to go back to some guy named Todd. and
Something
talk
like
to him
that.
Or something, yeah.
That guy.
Yeah. So we're good, though.
Council, anything else? Thanks so much, Rod.
Okay,
Great
thank
work.
you.
Okay, that completes item number 8. On to 9, approvals and authorizations. The following items are for discussion, consideration, action. 9A, City of Garden Ridge Crisis Communications Plan. This is something that does require, hopefully, our action tonight. What I'm going to do prior to us discussing this, though, is let Marissa give us a little update, maybe a quick review on how we got here with this and the whole process.
So this is one of the items that we contracted with DFW Strategic Communications to help us and put this together with us. So it's definitely been a work in progress for quite some time now. So I'm glad to actually be bringing it to council. Basically, the crisis communication plan was put together by a variety of staff. The mayor and the mayor pro tem were involved. And it is general in the sense that it tries to cover a lot of situations, but while also being pretty specific on what would happen and how in situations. So I don't want to go over each page with everyone, but I would say if y'all have any questions, I would try to answer them, or I would go get answers from DFW Strategic Communications. Otherwise, I know one person for sure has noticed this, so maybe a couple others have noticed. There are some minor edits that really bother me, so those will be changed. I had asked for them to change them before, but it wasn't happening, and I just wanted to bring this to council. They told me they would give me a Word document once it's approved, so everything will be consistent after this is acted on. When I have the Word document, all the cities will be capitalized, the titles will all be capitalized, you know, the little things that I like. otherwise, it's pretty specific to Garden Ridge because it talks about our Garden Ridge alert system. It talks about our website and how we would use it in emergency situations, where we would post certain things. With that, I would answer any questions if y'all have any.
Thanks, Marissa. So this is part of our action as a governing body, the City of Garden Ridge, that we talked about last summer, of hiring a professional team, DFW Strategic Communications, to help us with a number of things. One of those was our crisis communication plan. And that was stemming from our experience in February of '21 with Snowmageddon, and talking about not just that event and lessons that we learned from that event with inter-city communications, communication with the council and the mayor pro tem, council communication with department heads, and then communication between the department heads in a crisis situation. That could be a freeze event, that could be a hurricane, wildfire, excessive heat, something happens with, God forbid, the water system. Name it, it's out there. What we're going to exercise in 2 weeks from today, an active shooter exercise. So this is a good plan that we've gone over with the department heads, myself and Lisa, and given it back to DFW to give us inputs. And I think we're ready to, it's not a, I mean, there are some edits that Marissa talked about, but I'm pleased with the overall document. And if you remember what we talked about as we went into the 50th anniversary celebration on the 4th of July, we had that plan. And just like General Eisenhower said the day or the night before Operation Overlord and D-Day, that, okay, the plan is worthless, but the planning was indispensable. I'm not saying that the crisis communication plan is worthless. I'm just saying that because we went through the exercise of putting it together and talking about it, and a chain of command, if you will, a hierarchy, and who needs to know what and when, and who's responsible for what and when, now we have a good plan going forward. So that's a long Rob Erickson way of saying, hey, I'd love if we made a motion to approve as written, with staff making final edits as necessary. But that's up to you guys. So comments for me.
Quick question, Marissa. Can you scroll down? Can somebody scroll down to media contacts? I couldn't remember if I saw the New Braunfels Herald in there or no.
So they had actually told me, DFW Strategic Communications told me that the media contacts has changed, she said probably about a dozen times since she started this, which is kind of crazy. So it sounds like that will be an ongoing thing that changes. But now that I think about it, I don't think that I saw the Herald on here.
Yeah, it just struck me as our paper of record that maybe that's one that we should have on the list.
Yeah, I don't see them on the list.
Okay.
That is something that we can add. So even if y'all approve this tonight, this is a living document and staff will have to make changes to, especially the media contacts. Also the staff list. I mean, there's already a change that needs to be made anyways from the time this was finalized. So those are appendix. So that's something that I can add. So I'll add the Herald in there because it's not on there.
Okay, thank you. I'm just so pleased we've gotten this far. You know, I mean, I think it's been a great exercise. I think we learned a lot during Snowmageddon, and we need a plan in place. And this gives us something to follow. I'm sure we'll deviate from the plan at times. It gives us, you know, some accountability. You know, so there's not finger pointing. We just know what everybody's supposed to be doing. So thank you for all your work on this.
Thanks, Lisa. Anybody else?
Yes, this is a great job. You know, I liked it when I read it, pretty thorough, easy to read and everything. As far as contacts, I do have one suggestion, you know, to add the Hano radio station to it. There's 3 residents at least in George Ranch that listen to KXTN 107.5 all the time. And I even listen to it when I'm on the road out of town on iHeart. So just for that, just to be sure we get all possible people. So that was my only suggestion. And Marissa has some of the information anyway.
Thanks, Jesse. Anybody else? Okay, with that, if there's no other questions or discussion, can I get a motion from City Council to approve the City of Garden Ridge Crisis Communications Plan?
I make a motion to approve the City of Garden Ridge Crisis Communication Plan.
A motion to approve, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, council. We have officially adopted our City of Garden Ridge Crisis Communications Plan. Nice work, thank you. On to item number 9B, City of Garden Ridge Strategic Marketing Plan. There is no action necessary for us on this tonight. This is for our review primarily, and I will again turn it over to Marissa. Thanks.
So there is no action needed on this. This is being provided to council just to show y'all a document that has been, that again, DFW Strategic Communications in consultation with staff has prepared. And it's more so of guidelines. So if when you're looking through the document, it is made up of strategies and tactics, and basically it includes solutions that can be achieved with targeted communication and marketing efforts. And there are also some that require funding from the city. So basically everything that's in the document, it's not necessarily something we are going to do or that we have to do. It's more so of ideas and guidelines at this point, and gives staff a guide on what we should be aiming towards. And I would say that what would be up for council action in the future is if y'all wanted to see a specific tactic implemented, then it would be something that you would want to bring up during the budget process so that it's budgeted for, if it's one of the ones that has a star by it, which is what the star means, budgetary impact. I will say there's a couple that we have already done or we're in the works of doing. One of the tactics is distribute auto stickers with the new city logo and or tagline. We already ordered new stickers and we've been distributing them for maybe 2 months now. And they look really good. If you don't have one, I recommend you stop by the front and get one. And then another one is the website redesign, reflecting the new logo, color palette, and tagline. As y'all know, that is also in the works, almost done. One thing that might hold up the website redesign is you see up there, they say new website should also reflect an easier to use URL. I would love that, which also would mean our email addresses would change. But that is a process that is still in the works. So if our URL doesn't change, I will probably remove that from here, but I would like our URL to change because that's just much easier to say, gardenridgetx.gov. Otherwise, within the plan, there's also appendix in here. One of them is the branding guide, which is basically just policy and procedures on how to use the logo, how to not use the logo, and gives a bunch of different examples. This is something that I went over with this morning in our meeting with our department heads, so everyone is on the same page about using the logo, and they will also know where all the image files are at. So that's another thing. If y'all are working with any outside vendors, they have to have the city's permission to use our logo. So all of that would just need to come through me, and I'll get you an image file to use based off of whatever it is. And then the last thing in the plan is another appendix. They added in the focus group interviews that were conducted. It basically just for informational purposes that it was done and what all of the feedback kind of came out to be, overview of it, which was when they talked to a lot of our residents, different community stakeholders, staff, some council members, and just what their findings were, basically to get them to what our logo currently is, our tagline, and this plan. So even though this is not up for council action, I would say that if y'all have any suggestions or recommendations or comments or feedback, I would like to hear them. If you don't have any tonight, if you think of some later, you can always send them to me, because this is another document that could be changing. It's just more of a guide for staff, and we wanted council to see it.
Thanks, Marissa. Great presentation. Council, anything to add to this, Lise?
I love it. I guess my question, is there anything on here that the council can help you with? I mean, I know you short-staffed right now. In particular, I was looking at the economic development opportunities section. Or do we just get in the way?
I would say right now, I don't have anything that comes to mind. I mean,
Okay.
under the economic development, the one that wouldn't cost actual money, it would just cost staff time, would be developing an economic development page on the city website. But I have to do that.
Okay.
I can't give you administrative access to the website.
Right,
You know
for
what
sure.
I mean?
Yep.
So, and then, I mean, there are some in here that I could see council helping with in the future. I just don't know that we're at that point yet.
Okay.
Being so early on.
Okay.
I'll let you know, though.
I know.
Jesse, you look like you're,
Yeah, I didn't make it through all of the documents, just only got it yesterday. So, yeah, but what I saw so far, it looks real good, and I'm sure I'll come back to you with comments later.
Todd, okay? Okay. All right. So, sorry. You got to speak up, man.
It might be the
Let's
rookie
go,
here,
Rook.
but come on. No, I love it. I think it's great. The only thing I would add is on measurement under the website, traffic to the website is how you're going to obtain that. Like, I think it was 1,000 more hits or something. I don't have the page with me, but I don't know if it was page 72 maybe. And it might be in there. It might. Okay, 5%. I think the only thing you might I'd recommend adding in there is how you're going to achieve that. And it might be in there. I might have missed it, but that would be my only recommendation. I think it's great.
All right, thanks, Kelly. Good input. So thanks for this, council. This was your work with the staff. We budgeted for this, and we started working this a year ago, and here it's coming to fruition. Some of this stuff, like Marissa mentioned, are impact, if they're starred, they impact the budget process. And some of them, quite frankly, are beyond what we need to do in Garden Ridge at the moment as we start this marketing process. And some of it we've already done through different means, like becoming a member of the Tri-City partner with the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce. And I've met with Mindy Paxton 2 months ago, or in June actually, and gave her this draft marketing plan and said, what can the chamber help us with in this process? And she had read it and said, some of these things we are already doing by getting the word out there on our website about the city of Garden Ridge. We're telling your story, and it's working. We're already hosting a chamber mixer in September. We have 3 restaurants that are, one that is seriously interested in building in the not too distant future on 2252, and then 2 possibles with some very nice restaurants around the community that would like to develop a second venue along 2252 in Garden Ridge. So the process is working, and that's a result of your hard work and strategic planning and vision, so along with our staff. So thanks so much for doing this. And again, there's no action required, but Marissa, great job. Nancy, great job. Our department heads and council, thanks for this. Any other comments for Marissa?
I just had one comment about the crisis communications plan. Now that council has approved it, we'll be working towards scheduling a tabletop exercise where DFW Strategic Communications will actually come here and work through the plan with staff and council. So stay tuned for some dates for that. It'll likely be in September at the earliest.
Thanks, Marissa. Thanks for adding that. And that's something that we've already previously budgeted for. So that's included in the project. Thank you so much. Okay, that'll conclude item number 9. We go on to item number 10 and updates with city council projects. You're going to see, you've noticed already that it is a little bit different than in previous agendas based on our conversation in July. And then as well as I met with each one of you briefly or at length about what projects you wanted to work on. So we have it listed with, and my name is on all of them just because the mayor needs to be in the loop on all of these. And we started off with Lisa as the mayor pro tem and then just went in order council place 1, 3, 4, and 5 from there. So with that, 10A1, meeting with Comal County officials concerning new residential development on Back Cave Road and outside of the city limits and the impacts upon Garden Ridge. Lisa, do you have any updates on that you'd like to give?
Actually, I think we can blend 1 and 2 because they relate to each other. So obviously, we've got this development coming out on Back Cave Road, and we've met with Laddie Dent and talked about it. Our concern still remains the traffic. Nobody's going to be doing anything to address the traffic. And, the solution that we have come up with, or some way to address the problem, is asking, doing an MPO ask that widens 3009. So part of that, we've been building support from different partners, whether it's Laddie Denton, Scott Hogg, reaching out to as many people as we can who could help us achieve that. So one of the things we decided we would do is to reach out to Clayton Perry, who is the San Antonio council member that who's over the ETJ.
District 10.
District 10.
Northeast
yes.
side.
Northeast side. So we talked about a little strategy beforehand, again, trying to get him on board with supporting MPO, because we know the city of San Antonio is not going to do anything in their ETJ to improve our roads. And Nancy mentioned, hey, well, let's just take his temperature on, how he feels about that ETJ. So we went to City Hall, got a tour of City Hall as well, and sat with Mr. Perry, and it seems as if they are amenable to releasing that entire ETJ to the city of Garden Ridge. So, did you have that? Did you? So, that would include, I had Marissa last minute today. Just got to back it down some. There you go. A little more. And it extends all the way up to Ramble Ridge and loops around Bracken. Now, what that will do is, I'm sorry? Yes. You see where you see the green, and then the solid line is the ETJ around it. So it's Ramble Ridge all the way down through Bracken. And temporarily, what that will do is provide them some protection from getting annexed by San Antonio. It wouldn't mean a whole lot of change for that ETJ. We still, we're not required to, provide services or, do any kind of significant changes. It does set us up in the future, for possible annexation. It puts us in a better position. Again, if we get to a home rule, if we become a home rule city, it becomes more plausible to do those kinds of things. But it does, again, it offers, that whole area some protection from San Antonio. And it makes common sense. That area is all Comal County. San Antonio doesn't want Comal County within Bayer County. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to them as well. So that was a very encouraging meeting. Kind of next steps is to come back to them, with the exact area, which is what you're kind of seeing right here, and, reasons, kind of just a pitch for why this would be good for both of us. You have anything else to add, Nancy? We were just tickled.
We were all glowing. We could not believe the conversation.
No, I really don't have anything to add, other than we've got to define the area and come up with our pitch to support San Antonio releasing that ETJ to Garden Ridge.
Lisa, great work on this, Lisa and Nancy. Lisa took point on it, set up the meet with Clayton Perry. We had a great time down there. His chief of staff, Mr. Paul Jimenez, actually lives in Ramble Ridge and drives through Garden Ridge every single day and considers himself.
I think the first words out of his mouth were, annex us.
Yeah, literally. So,
Right.
And we went there, at least my intention was to just talk about possible ETJ for Enchanted Bluff.
Nancy and I had big
I know.
dreams.
So I gave a little map of a little circle. Hey, this is what we're asking for. And then Nancy and Lisa quickly took over and said, actually, here's this map that you saw before. And I'm like, good God, that's half the state. So, but they, Councilmember Perry and his chief of staff were extremely enthusiastic about it. So, and we're going to shoot for the moon to see what we can take to the city staff, because then once it goes through Councilman Perry's district, then it goes to the city staff, and that's where the real hard work begins. So when you look at votes with the City Council of San Antonio, and you see a vote of 9-1, Clayton Perry is the one voting for his district, and he's outvoted. He likes to say, well, it's actually 1-9. So we have a long road ahead of us, but it's not, we didn't get told no.
Right.
We got told, hey, that's a really good idea. Let's proceed with it and see where that can go. That doesn't, like Lisa said, coming into our ETJ for Garden Ridge doesn't mean too much right away, because the taxes are still Comal County taxes. We're not going to see any revenue with that.
We can't zone an ETJ.
Can't zone an ETJ, but in the process of eventually the city of Garden Ridge becoming home rule, somewhere around the 5,000 population marker, and how you define that, we're general law right now, home rule would give the city a little bit more leeway and authority to annex an ETJ. So, and that would increase our area, that would increase taxes and all of those things that follow, increase tax revenue and all of those things that follow. So that's down the road, but unless we hear otherwise, we're going full bore with hey, we'd like to look at this ETJ.
Cynthia, are we missing any red flags here?
No, other than, we just have to make sure that we get all of our ducks in a row to present to the staff, and then we go from there.
Right.
But I'm going to go with the book of life. If the answer is no, then maybe the answer is yes.
So you're saying there's a chance? Okay. Yep, so
thanks.
there we go. Anything else, Lisa?
I think that's the biggest, yes.
It's great work, and we got, one other thing I want to say with that. We got a great tour by Clayton Perry, and we saw the different offices. They just went through a $42 million renovation upgrade with the original building that was built in 1888 and has gone through a couple of renovations since then. The last one was in '94. So it's a great building. It's beautiful, and got to see the council chambers. And there was something else I wanted to add in there. You guys know that for me, it's all about relationship building, and we led with that, hey, thanks for seeing us today, and we want to, the city of Garden Ridge is here at your table today, and we want to talk and develop a relationship with you. So that's what it's all about, communication and establishing those those footholds and relationships. So great job.
I had a little more to add.
Crazy.
Now that I'm thinking about it. And this falls under mitigation of growth and new residential developments. Nancy and I had a great meeting with David with the Great Springs Project. And we talked to him about a lot of things. I mean, their goal is to put in a trail from Austin to San Antonio. But in addition to the trail, they do lots of other things, including land conservation. So one of the things that we talked to them about was the development on Batcave and the potential developments in the future. So one of the things that I think we'll continue to work with them on is giving them some names of the big ranches and the properties out there that they could speak with about a conservation easement rather than selling. So we're sort of looking at those kind of plans as well. Just trying to hit it from all angles. Anything else, Nancy? That was a fun meeting too.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. That covers 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Okay. On to item number 3, economic development and council liaison to Tri-County Chamber of Commerce. Kelly.
Yeah, so Mindy and I, our esteemed colleague over at the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce, the only update I have is we've been talking with a very popular brewery about possibly setting up shop number 2 here in Garden Ridge, and they are, can I say, overly excited at the thought of doing that. And so we're talking more, and Mindy and I will be meeting in person with the owners here, like within the next few weeks. So stay tuned.
That's great, Kelly. Thank you. Outstanding. Okay, on to item number 4, Alamo Area MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization Technical Advisory Committee. Jesse.
Okay, there was no meeting in July. That's an off month for all the different committees MPO has. So next meeting is this coming Friday, and I plan to attend virtually, and I'll bring you updates next month.
Thanks, Jesse. And council, to remind you, this is pretty huge for the city of Garden Ridge to have a foot in the door on the MPO, regardless of what committee we end up on initially, hopefully eventually. It's great for the city of Garden Ridge to have that, someone there advocating for us that's no kidding from Garden Ridge. So great job, Jesse. And then on to item number 5, council liaison to the water company and utilities department. We've seen Jesse at work with that already.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, after I left the Water Commission and came on council, I never really stopped working with the water department. So that's just been continuing, like I said, I've been involved with the, attending Water Commission meetings anyway, working with Stephen with the reports and things like that. I know Stephen and I have talked to me about changing the format for the report. If y'all have any thoughts as far as what you like to see, what you don't, send them to Marissa and she'll forward it to me. I'll continue working with Stephen on leak adjustment request. I want to go back and look at the preventive and predictive maintenance programs that we started a couple years ago. And at some point, do a check on rates, see how we're doing. I think we're going to be okay this year. But anyway, I need to do some calculations still. But anyway, continue to work on that.
Thanks, Jesse. Anything else on that one? Okay, great. Todd, council liaison to Comal ISD. Lots going on in Comal ISD right now. So any updates at all?
The search for a new superintendent continues. If folks haven't seen that, get on their Facebook page or their web page. There's actually a, what's the term I'm thinking for? Where they're gathering data on what we're looking for a new superintendent since survey. That's the right term. Yeah, there we go. Senior moment. I'm the old guy on the council, right? At least time on council. Anyway, they're looking for a new superintendent with the departure of Andrew Kim. Obviously, we've got the project going on with Light the Water Tower. We'll continue to press on that one. And school starts here on the 24th? 3rd? I gotta look at the calendar. 23rd. So all that's ramping up. Football practices are starting. Volleyball practices are starting. I can only highly encourage people to come out and get involved in I'm going to claim it, Davenport/Garden Ridge High School. And once we get a new superintendent, I'll make sure we cultivate another relationship with him. I had a very good working relationship with Andrew, so we'll keep pushing that.
Outstanding. Thanks, Todd. Appreciate all your help on that. Okay, item number 7 and 8 is city welcome signage. We had a hard time coming up with exactly what we wanted to say on that, so city welcome signage, because there's signs that can go in different places and different types of sign, as well as parks, recycling, and Kay's working on, we're all working on a bunch of different other things, but those are the two that we wanted to put on city council projects for now. So Kay, floor is yours.
I don't, since this is relatively new, I don't have a significant amount of information tonight. The welcome signage, obviously we try to think, if you think about one entrance to Garden Ridge, there's actually several entrances to Garden Ridge. So we'd want to create something. We don't believe we could put something realistically on 2252 right now, given that the road will expand and who knows what would happen. But it's possible that heading south on 399 at our city limits up by Shanthal perhaps would be a place to start. We don't anticipate any change there. Twice in the past years, I've taken photographs of signs within the city, because signs are an issue, I believe. Signs within the city, as well as representative signs in adjoining neighborhoods or cities. And just nothing has ever happened. So I think it's just time to go forward. There are a lot of areas in Selma, for example, that have some beautiful signage because they can afford anything they want. And there's some newer signs as well, signage ideas in New Braunfels. So I could do what I've done before and provide pictures of representative ideas and, of course, quotes. And then as far as parks recycling, I have, of course, being on the committee, and then prior experience with the Lions, no matter how hard you try, even to the point that I created a Corplast toppers for the trash cans years ago that were like literally the size of a bottle, and yet we still found food in them. And that's tough on Public Works to have to go through there, because we're not doing our part if we recycle food. So it's still a work in progress, whether it's even realistic. I mean, a big blue bin is one thing, but people just, unfortunately, I don't think. So it's still a work in progress. See if other cities have ideas how to handle that. I mean, additional signage like, hey, this is a great learning experience for your kids or whatever like that, but it's not going to be foolproof, but it's worth investigating.
Okay, thanks, Kay. Awesome. Anything else, council? All right, that concludes council city project updates. On to item number 11, future agenda items. Anybody have anything they want to see on the agenda next week or next month? Okay, no inputs. Then we'll move on to item number 12, citizen comment period. You don't have to have signed up for this one, so please come forward. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming tonight. So it's not on. You see the, there you go. Yeah, you're on.
Sharon Stripling. I live at 21729 Forest Water Circle. So some of what got brought up, to Kay's point about recycling, and I believe it was Michelle I talked to. I called earlier this week. We had the recycling people going through. I have glass shards all over Forest Water Circle. I think it came from, were you the one I talked to? Yeah. And I didn't know, because I don't think we're in the open community, so we're not gated, so we're not responsible for our streets. And there's some pretty big chunks of shards all around. I noticed they're in the older part of Garden Ridge too. So I don't know if there's something y'all can do about having the trash people clean up, because I'm not aware that we have sweepers that go through. So that sort of goes to your recycling thing about how it's being handled. I've never seen that before. So I don't know if they had something wrong with one of their trucks or what happened. But a lot of people walk Forest Water Circle, a lot, and there's a lot of dogs too. And you've got to really it's all over the place. And there's some in the older part of Garden Ridge too. The other thing I'm sort of going to go back to, of course, with all that wreck that happened a couple of days ago on 35. We all know we get backed up in Garden Ridge. I had a pretty constant flow of traffic cutting through on Forest Water Circle. And I know I've talked to the police chief about this before, about patrolling through there a little bit more. We have a lot of young drivers. We're getting extremely loud vehicles. There's a few that you can hear all the way down at Bat Cave and 2252 from where I am at the pond. And I don't know if there's anything we can do about it, but it's getting a little annoying. And we've had some tagging in Forest Waters. And I don't know if y'all were aware of that. It was posted on Facebook. The police chief might have known it, I'm not sure. Somebody posted it on Facebook. They tagged. It's city property, but you can't really see it. It's down where the pond on the one side of Forest Waters is, that luckily they tagged it low under the bridge, but then they tagged some screens that Tony Overman has around the basketball courts. So obviously something, you know, we need to be watching for some of those. You know, maybe it's kids out for the summer that they're bored and they need to be back in school or something like that. Oh, I'm out of time. I can't talk anymore. There was a lot more.
Thank you, Sharon. Anybody else? Dr. Miller? It's good to see you, sir.
Evening,
Bless
Jim
you.
Miller, 9910 Marie Meadow, in Garden Ridge. I had two things. Number one was I noticed with the deer carcass removals, we were up to 74, and this is only the 7th month, and I'm saying that's 10 a month, and I'm wondering how that compares to last year and the years past, specifically when we had the deer brouhaha several 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm wondering if we're trending that way, and we're going to continue to trend that way with the drought. If the hogs are coming, the deers may be coming as well. Just something to keep an eye on. Number two, I didn't hear mentioned during the council meeting. I come from a multi-generational household, and apparently there's been some changes in the school bus routes, and some routes have been eliminated. And I don't know what the plan is, whether they're supposed to walk to school, or parents or grandparents supposed to drive them to school. It may have some impact on the traffic situation over at Garden Ridge Elementary that we need to be aware of. I'd like to have a little bit of feedback on that. I pay taxes like everybody else, and I'm wondering how they eliminated or decided where the buses go and where the buses don't go. That's all I had this evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Miller. Anybody else? Floor is yours, Rod.
Thank you. I'm addressing you as the Homeowners Association President over at Forest of Garden Ridge. Is there any formal presentation updates for FX for 2252 as far as what the actual construction is going to be in the timeline? Has anything been formalized on that at all? It's a question. And is there going to be an additional presentation that TxDOT does for the citizens of Garden Ridge from that area? Just want to keep it top of mind. I don't know what's officially going on anymore from that side. And I know there've been a lot of delays in that. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rod. Anybody else? Okay. If there's nobody else that wants to make a comment, we'll move on to item number 13, reports and comments from mayor and city council members with everything listed right there. So before I go, council, any other updates for the items we have listed? You got one?
I got one.
Go.
The Garden Ridge Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association, the 7th Annual Garden Ridge Car Show is scheduled for October 22nd. I have a few flyers over there. And so just want to start putting that out there. And I do have a flyer in sponsor form for, if you want to pass it on to Tri-County, to Mindy. So I have a PDF files I can send to y'all, so I can take care of that.
Awesome. Thanks, Jesse. Anybody else? Kelly?
Just a reminder, September 22nd, Chamber Mixer, Paul Davis Park. I figure if we mention it we got the 1, 2, 3 punch. Alamo Brewing Company will be sampling their beer there. And so that's somebody that we have not had out there yet, so I'm looking forward to that. So it's September 22nd at Paul Davis Park.
Mindy had talked about maybe talking to Caparelli's as our local restaurant here to see if they wanted to get in on that.
I don't have word on that yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have an answer on that yet.
That would be a good thing. So thanks for heading that up. Anybody else before I go with a couple of comments? All right, Families of Garden Ridge Adopt a Highway program, our next sponsored pickup, Saturday, August 20th from 8 to 10 a.m. To get it ready as we're just barreling through summer, not getting into the fall yet. So love to see whoever and anybody that wants to come out and help out with that. Northeast Partnership is next week and would, correct, Nancy? Yep, next Thursday, the 11th. So we can make a day of it with having lunch and then coming back for our special budget meeting that evening. Love to see you all there. It's always a good time. Kelly, you already talked about the 22 September mixer. We also have Comal County Luncheon, which is next Monday. Love to see you guys there. If you are available to go, just let Nancy know so that we can send our RSVP. And I think that's about it. We do have Comal ISD with all 3 of our schools listed here. So though we don't make comments during citizen comment period, it's something that we can discuss right here, right now. So we did hear from Garden Ridge, or Comal ISD, and specifically Garden Ridge Elementary School, since we share Municipal Parkway with them, the fact that bus traffic or bus pickup and drop off within the city of Garden Ridge, Comal ISD can't afford this year. So we immediately set up communications with, through Nancy and the chief, with the principal of Garden Ridge Elementary School and admin and staff, and started working through that. I think the latest update I had was that it's actually not as many pickup and drop-off sites as I had thought initially, and I think we said it was around 20. Was that right, Chief, or something like that?
I don't know about sites, or
Okay.
I don't know about sites. I was calculating it based on.
That's what I meant.
How
What
many
you're about to
children were riding the bus.
That's what I meant.
So calculating the numbers they gave us for the total daily children riding the bus, still working on the exact numbers for the Garden Ridge residents. I was figuring at least half were Garden Ridge residents. It calculates to roughly about 30 vehicles, 30 to 40 vehicles a day. So it's not quite as large an impact as we initially anticipated.
Which is good, and we're working through, we're not necessarily changing our game plan at all. We're
At
just
this point, there's nothing we
see how
can
it
change
goes.
to do that. We
Okay.
can't change anything on the school. I thought about approaching them again, using the service road around the back, but with all the portable buildings they've added there, and the kids having to go to those in the morning, they're not gonna allow that to happen.
Okay. Thanks for the update. Thanks for working through that, Chief and Nancy. And again, we all know as school starts that everybody has to get used to the morning drop-off and the afternoon pickup, again, every single year. So I thank everyone out there in advance for their patience with that, and we go through that every single year. Thanks, Chief. Anybody else?
Sir, I think we have Tri-County Chamber lunch next week as well, unless I'm off on the dates.
Okay, so
Tuesday,
Tuesday and where?
Blue Bonnet Palace.
Okay.
I mean, I'd like to confirm that, but that's what Jesse and I
Okay.
recorded. It falls sometimes within, obviously, we have a 3 for next week.
Yeah.
That's correct. It is
Yeah.
Tuesday, the 9th. I posted it on the notice of potential quorum just in case.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks for bringing that up, Kay.
sure.
Anybody else? All right. With that, we'll conclude item number 13 and move on to item number 14, executive session. The city council will recess its open meeting and reconvene in executive session. 14A pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.0711 and 551.0712, consultation with attorney, and 551.072, deliberations about real property. 14A1, to receive legal advice regarding proposed revisions to ordinance number 7 and any potential liability issues. Number 2, to seek legal advice regarding pending litigation, cause number Charlie 2022-0615 Bravo Michael C. Dumgard II versus City Council for the City of Garden Ridge, Texas. And number 3, to consult with and receive legal advice regarding variance and special use permit processes related to development project Guadalupe Ready Mix proposed concrete batch plan at 20762 FM 2252. With that, council is recessed at 7:46 p.m. and we will reconvene in here in executive session at, let's just call it on the hour, at 8 o'clock. We are recessed. Thank you. All right, welcome back. We will reconvene in open session at 9:26 on Wednesday, the 3rd of August. There are no, item number 15, business items as we reconvene into regular session. There are no regular business items that we need to bring up from executive session. So since there's no more items required or action required, we'll move on to 16, and we stand adjourned at 9:26. Did I do that okay, Cynthia? Yay, okay. We are adjourned.